Hi, Rich Tehrani here from the TMC Newsroom at SuperCom 2009. It's day 2 today, and we're speaking with Dave Kresse, who is the CEO of Mu Dynamics. How are you, Dave?
Doing well, Rich.
Thank you for being here on our program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, I've covered you before, TMC's covered you before,
Yep.
but in your own words, can you give us an overview of your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in the business of testing IP services, and you look around the show here, and there's a lot of innovation being introduced by vendors, a lot of new things being done by the operators who these vendors are selling into, and what we haven't seen is innovation in the testing space to keep up with the innovation that these vendors and operators are producing around IP services. We've come up with a highly differentiated way to help them test those IP services faster, cheaper, and with much higher quality.
Okay, so highly differentiated.
Yeah.
Let's discuss that for a moment.
Sure.
What does that mean exactly?
Absolutely, and actually we just put out an announcement earlier this week on some of these capabilities as well, but really what we think that the whole paradigm around testing needs to change, right? The approach of the test case vendor writes static test cases for an operator or for a vendor customer and kind of hopes that they're going to be the right fit for the unique and custom service that they're trying to deploy, I think is a thing of the past. The other thing is a lot of the approach is very focused today on component-based testing. So I'm going to test each individual component of a service, but I'm really not testing the service itself. And so for us, the solution that we're offering, the real key breakthrough for us is we're using actual customer service traffic as the foundation for our test solution. And by doing that, we're able to do two things. First, we're able to model the logic of the service itself. And so it's not just about testing components. We actually allow customers to test their service. And in using their own service traffic, we help auto-generate and rapidly generate test cases that are applicable specifically for their service. And so the test cases they're getting are of much higher quality because they've been built specifically for what their needs are.
Now, you said you've also made some new announcements, and
Yeah.
I'm curious if you could delve into that a little bit for us.
Absolutely. So a lot of our focus as a company, we're about 5 years old, have more than 70 customers, well more than 100 implementations out there in the market. Many of the people who are here in this room are customers of ours today, as well as some of the major operators who talked at the keynote yesterday. Really our focus has been on one aspect of IP service testing, which is more on resilience or security testing, testing for the unexpected. And in working with our customers, we have a customer advisory board with customers like AT&T, Verizon, Alcatel-Lucent, Redback Ericsson, Cox, Juniper Networks are all on that advisory board. They really looked at us and said, hey, I understand what you're doing with this solution. Can you help me address a broader scope of my testing problem? And so the new announcement allows our customers to not just do resilience and security testing, but also to do functional testing, interoperability testing, which are major challenges that both our vendor and operator customers are facing.
And so the concept here is that the networks are growing exponentially more complex,
Yep.
more interconnected,
Yep.
and the testing has become exponentially more challenging because of not only the individual new protocols that come out and the subsets of those protocols and the variations of those
The
protocols,
extensions, the custom nature of a lot of those things.
but the integration of the entire system. So what you're telling
Absolutely.
us is that you've got technology that helps us with testing those overall systems, but also the individual components,
Yes.
so that it is a faster time to market
Yes.
for equipment providers as well as
For
carriers.
operators. That's exactly right.
Okay, so-
That's exactly right.
So what does the future hold then for your company? If you've got this technology already, and we know that the one thing that's certain in communications is convergence, change,
Yes.
and rapid paradigm shifts, which
Yes.
I know we use the word all the time, but in communications it happens all the time. If that's the constant, what are you doing to prepare yourself for the future?
Yeah, very good. So, really our solution, again, is trying to change the paradigm and really compress that time to test. Given how rapidly things are evolving, this approach of the cycle time of me developing test cases for you, by the time I'm done, you're already moved on to the next version or variation of what you're trying to do. So we're creating a platform that allows our customers to test at the rate of their own innovation, right? And again, test in a way that's directly relevant from what they're trying to do. From a Mu perspective, really the focus is IP services. A big part of our customer base is the people in this room, the vendors and the carriers.
Right.
But IP services are actually starting to bleed into other aspects of society as well, right? You have the smart grid, and again, I know there are vendors here that are part of that initiative
Sure.
as well. Cloud computing is becoming quite prevalent. Government services are all moving to IP as well. So for us, there's an expansion also into other vertical markets, where this same challenge exists.
Sounds a lot like what TMC is doing as well, getting into a lot of those same markets. So
Exactly.
right. So there's IP is actually changing everything.
That's
so
exactly right.
Communications was one of the areas where it started,
Yes.
but obviously
and probably
media.
most mature here, right? I mean, there's been a lot of
Sure,
investment here,
sure.
so a lot of our business is sort of innovating with the people who are really driving leadership around the IP services space. But there's absolutely, you're starting to see that innovation now sprout out elsewhere.
Well, thanks for being on the program. It's very exciting, and good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.